So hey guys, what's up? So welcome to my new channel. So starting from the first news, key Trump loses poll, witness a film's joke and quid pro quo. But first, the elections marked Barron, the Republican governor of the Kentucky, lost to Democrat Andy Bishop largely due to his unpopularity. But Trump, who had put his all weight behind the Barron, will end up shouldering some of the blame. U.S. Republicans lost a key gubernatorial race and conceded a set of state legislature in the state elections that were also seen as the first test of the President Donald Trump's mounting troubles stemming from the impeachment inquiry, which has not been going too well for him. A key witness in the ongoing inquiry changed his stand on Tuesday and told congressional investigators that he had asked Ukrainian officials that they had to give the President Trump what he wanted, a public announcement of investigation of corruption to unblock almost $400 million in military aid it was supposed to get. But first, the elections made the Republican governor of the Kentucky lost to Democrat Andy Bishop in an upset defeat largely due to his unpopularity. But President Trump, who had put his full weight behind Barron and held an election rally for him on Monday, will end up shouldering some of the blame, especially from the critics. Republicans also conceded the Assembly and Senate in Virginia for the first time in a quarter of a century. Democrats are now in charge of all major statewide offices in Virginia, state that was once considered Republican, that has turned into a swing state but with a sharp rise in the Democratic voters. These reverses for the Republican Party came a year after it all lost control of the U.S. House of Representatives to Democrats in the 2018 midterm elections. Republicans are saying to be losing support in cities and in the suburbs of the largely on account of the deceptive brand of politics popularized by Trump. There have been no reactions from Trump itself till night in his 2020 campaign claimed credit for the another victories in the Kentucky and South. The president just about dragged Governor Matt Barron across the finish line, helping him run stronger than expected in what turned into a very close race at the end. Earlier in the day, another Trump loyalist handed in the president a fresh set of the troubles. U.S. Ambassador to European Union Gordon Sondland told impeachment investigators that he had indeed conveyed to an Ukrainian official that were conditions but had to admit to get the security aid, laying out, in fact, a quid pro quo that the president and his allies have denied. I said that the resumption of the U.S. aid would likely not occur until Ukraine provided a public anti-corruption statement that we have been discussing for many weeks. Sondland said he's a wealthy householder from Oregon who donated generously to Trump's campaign and was given the prestigious ambassadorship as a reward. The Trump administration is alleged to have pushed Ukraine to order an investigation against the former Vice President Joe Biden and his son Hunter Biden about the latest association with the Ukrainian company. Sondland did not connect with the quid pro quo to the president. The White House did point out to election he did not know and still does not know when and why or by whom the aid was suspended. A spokesperson said, adding he also said he presumed there was a link to the aid but cannot identify any solid source for that assumption. So move to the next news. H-1B bid denial rates the highest for Indian IT companies under Trump administration, says report. The study by the National Foundation for American Policy also reflects that the annual rate for the H-1B visas is highest among the major Indian IT companies, thus giving credence to charges that Indian companies are being unduly targeted by the current administration. As a result of the more restrictive Trump administration policies, the annual rates for the H-1B petition have increased significantly from just 6% in 2015 to 24% in the third quarter of the current fiscal. A study carried out by an American think tank shows. As a result of more restrictive Trump administration policy, the annual rate for H-1B petitions have increased significantly from just 6% in 20 to 24% in the third quarter of the current fiscal. A study carried out by an American think tank shows. The study by the National Foundation for the American Policy, based on the data received from the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services or the USCIS, also reflects that the annual rate for the H-1B visa is highest among the major IT companies, thus giving credence to charges that Indian companies are being unduly targeted by the current administration. For instance, the denial rate of the H-1B petition for nation employment for Amazon, Microsoft, Intel and Google in 2015 was just 1%. In 2019, the same increased respectively to 6, 8, 7 and 3%. The denial rate for Apple remained the same at 2%. During the same period, the denial rate jumped from 4% to 41% for Tech Mahindra, from 6% to 34% for TCS, and from 7% to 53% for Wipro, and from just 2% to 45% for Infosys. The study showed at least 12 companies that provide professional IT services to the other US companies, including Accenture, Capgemini, and others, had denial rates of over 30% through the first 3 quarters of fiscal 2019. Most of these companies had denial rate between the 2% and 7%, and recently in 2015 itself. The denial rate for the H-1B petition for continuing employment was also high for Indian IT companies. For Tech Mahindra, it increased from 2% to 16% during the same period, while that of Wipro increased from 4% to 19%, and Infosys from 1% to 29%, the study showed. On the other hand, the denial rates for H-1B petitions for continuing employment among major American companies were low. Amazon from 1% to 3%, Microsoft remained 2%, Intel from 1% to 3%, Apple remained at 1%, and for Google it increased from 0.4% in 2015 to 1% in 2019. Nothing that between 2015 and 2019, the denial rate for new H-1B petition for initial employment quadrupled from 6 to 24%. The National Foundation for American Policy said, to put this perspective, between 2010 and 2015, the denial rate for initial H-1B petition never exceeded 8%, while today the rate is 3 times higher. A key goal of the Trump administration, achieved through memos and policy changes, has been to make it more difficult for well-educated foreign nationals to work in American science and engineering fields. The foundation said in the first 3 quarters of fiscal 2019, U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services adjudicators denied 24% of H-1B petition for initial employment and 12% of the H-1B petition for continuing employment itself. The 12% denial rate for continuing employment is also historically high. It was only 3% in 2015, the think tank said. Based on how the agency processed cases, this data suggests the government has not improved for employers. Landon Melvin, a partner at the Barry Appleman and Layden, a former chief counselor for the USCIS, said a cream of the crop cases would have been improved during that time period, but cases where the government issued a request for evidence would likely not show up in that data set because they would not be decided until much later. He said research by the Britta Glennon, assistant professor at the Wharton School of Business at the University of Pennsylvania, found that the restrictive H-1B policy could not be only exporting more jobs and businesses to countries like Canada, but also they could be making the US's innovative capacity fall behind. In response to being unable to hire high-skilled foreign national, US companies increase their hiring overseas, which causes more innovation by foreign nationals to take place in other countries, benefiting those nations, the think tank said. H-1B visa restrictions such as those now being implemented by the administration push up outside the United States and lead to less innovation in America, it said. So move to the next news. Fact, not a fiction. China's soldier will fly like Iron Man in the future. Several types of the exoskeletons were recently tested at the competition in Beijing, where nearly 100 research institutes, companies, and universities showcased their product. The Chinese state media expectedly called them Iron Man suits. China's People's Liberation Army is said to be evaluating advanced exoskeleton systems or weaponized body braces with flying capability. The Chinese state media expectedly called them Iron Man suits, which will carry a heavy firepower and special armor. Several types of exoskeletons were recently tested at competition in Beijing, where nearly 100 research institutes, companies, and universities showcased their product. The competition, titled the Super Warrior 2019 Military Individual Exoskeleton System Challenge, was organized by the PL Equipment Department. Nearly 100 teams from research institutes, university companies participated in the competition as their exoskeleton products were tested and compared. The suits were tested for the ability to carry heavy weight, mobility in rough terrain, and artillery ammo loading, a PL statement quoted by Tablet Global Times announced on Tuesday. Worn as a kind of exoskeleton, the suits are installed with intelligent system that can read user intention and synchronize with their movement. The suits are being designed to provide extra kinetic energy to help enhance the strength, speed, and stamina of users, the report added. It features suits with special armor protections and a individual flight system, including a flying board similar to the one showcased at the French Bastille Day Parade in July, and a jetpack that seems to be worn on the back and provides thrust from 2 engines, the PL statement states. The PL will choose the best products, getting new ideas and communicating with developers so that they can develop new exoskeletons for the army use in future warfare. Military experts said in the future exoskeletons could also be connected to a network that allows information sharing and integrates with heavier individual weapons like automatic grenade launchers, light machine guns, giving individual soldiers strong firepower, Red Action of Beijing-based military analyst told the tabloid. In 2018, Norinco, China's state-owned manufacturing of the armed vehicles and heavy ground munition, debuted its second-generation military exoskeleton. A report by the popular science website said the newest Norinco-powered exoskeleton can carry about 100 pounds of gear ammunition supplies. It would improve the combat capability and self-sufficiency of Chinese infantry, Norinco had then said in a statement. So move to the last news. Paris Climate Accord irreversible. China, France jointly declare in Beijing. French President Emmanuel Macron attends a welcome ceremony with Chinese President Xi Jinping outside the Great Hall of the People in the Beijing. The Paris Climate Accord is irreversible. President Xi Jinping and his French counterpart Emmanuel Macron said in Beijing on Wednesday, soon after Washington announced it was withdrawing from the deal. Xi and Macron's decision to put our united front came in the backdrop of the several leading powers expressing concern over President Donald Trump's decision to withdraw from the accord amid growing international concern on the worsening climate situation. Xi and Macron reaffirmed their firm support for the Paris Accord, which they consider as an irreversible process and a compass for strong action on climate. In a joint statement, speaking at the Great Hall of the People, Macron said he deplores the choices made by others without naming any country or leader. But I want to look at them marginal choices, Macron said, with the European Union, China and Russia backing the pact. Macron was quoted as saying that the isolated choice of one or another is not enough to change the course of the world. It only leads to the marginalization. Xi urged an international community to jointly protect our homeland planet Earth, saying we are against the attempt to replace the national interest above the common interest of humanity. China and France jointly issued a document titled Beijing Call for Biodiversity Conservation and Climate Change during the meeting. It reaffirmed that their strong commitment to enhance international cooperation on climate change to ensure full and effective implementation of the Paris Agreement. The documents include a commitment of restoring almost a third of the degraded land as well as cumulative fossil fuel subsidies in the medium term. Macron capped his second visit to China, which started in Shanghai on Monday, with slew of denials and discussions on the trade and Iranian nuclear issue, with the French leader saying he also raised human rights issue with the Chinese president. The AFP news agency reported the dates include an agreement to protect 20 European and Chinese agricultural products whose names are tied to their regions against counterfeiting, from champagne to the feta, cheese and pigeon rice. The report added separately he made a reference to the US, which launched a trade war with China last year and disagreed Beijing on various diplomatic issues. We advocate for mutual respect and equal treatment and are opposed to the law of jungle and acts of the intimidation, Xi Jinping said. We advocate for openness, inclusion and for mutually beneficial cooperation and are opposed to protectionism and the zero-sum game, Xi added. So if you like the channel, so kindly subscribe to it.